Frustration. It creeps in quietly. A delayed message, a careless word, a plan that collapses without warning. You tell yourself to stay calm, but beneath the surface, a storm brews, anger, impatience, the need to control what's slipping away. Yet, the Stoics taught that peace doesn't come from fixing the world. It comes from mastering the self. They understood that frustration is not your enemy. It's your teacher, a mirror showing how easily your mind can be disturbed and how deeply it craves control. On the Stoic island, we don't run from that feeling. We observe it, we study it, and we learn to transform it. Because calmness is not found by escaping chaos, but by walking through it, untouched. Here are 7 Stoic practices to help you handle frustration and rediscover the stillness that no storm can shake. Frustration often begins as a spark, a single moment that catches you off guard, a rude comment, a broken plan, a small inconvenience that shouldn't matter, but somehow it does. And before you even realize it, you're no longer observing the fire. You are the fire. You speak without thinking. You act without pause. And then when the storm fades, regret quietly appears in its place. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The Stoics understood that reaction is the enemy of reason. To react impulsively is to surrender your freedom, to let the external world pull your strings. That's why the first Stoic practice for handling frustration is deceptively simple, but profoundly powerful. Pause before reacting. When you pause, even for a heartbeat, you reclaim control of your mind. You create a sacred space, a small island of calm between what happens and how you respond. And in that space lies your freedom, because no one can make you angry without your consent. No event can disturb your peace unless you grant it permission. The Stoics believe that between stimulus and response there is a choice. That choice is where your power lives. So the next time frustration begins to rise, do not rush to meet it. Do not speak, do not move, just breathe. 3 deep breaths, slow, deliberate, intentional. With the first breath, acknowledge, "I feel anger." With the second, remind yourself this feeling is temporary. With the third, whisper silently, "I choose peace." It sounds simple, almost too simple, but that small ritual transforms chaos into clarity. You begin to see the emotion for what it truly is, a visitor, not a master. Epictetus taught that emotions are not the problem. Our judgments about them are. We label frustration as bad, unwanted, wrong, and in doing so, we amplify it. But when you observe it with neutrality, it loses its edge. You're no longer consumed by it, you're aware of it. Think of a storm at sea. If you stand on the deck, you're tossed by every wave. But if you dive beneath the surface, even a few feet below, the water is calm. That's what the pause does. It takes you beneath the surface of emotion, into the quiet depths of awareness. And from that stillness, you can decide how to act, not react. That's the difference between the ordinary person and the Stoic. The ordinary person becomes the storm. The Stoic observes it and remains still. Seneca once warned, "Anger, if not restrained, is more destructive than any other emotion." Each unguarded reaction leaves a scar, on others or within yourself. A harsh word, a door slammed, a decision made in heat. These things seem small in the moment, but they echo for years. So train yourself to delay the reaction. Even 10 seconds of silence can change the entire outcome of a situation. It gives reason time to rise before emotion takes the throne. In that brief silence, ask yourself, will my reaction help or harm? Is this worth my peace? What would a wise person do here? These questions act as inner anchors. They stop your mind from drifting into chaos. And each time you practice this, you grow stronger. Each pause sharpens your discipline. Each moment of restraint strengthens your mind's foundation. The Stoic life is not about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering it. Anger, frustration, disappointment, they will always visit. But through awareness and pause, you learn to greet them calmly, like an old acquaintance. You say, "Ah, I know you. You are frustration. You've come again to test my patience. Let's sit together for a moment." But you don't control me anymore. And just like that, the emotion passes. Not because you fought it, but because you didn't feed it. This is the art of the pause. It's not resistance, it's wisdom. It's not cold detachment, it's inner strength. When you master it, life stops feeling like a battlefield. You begin to walk through frustration with grace, like a calm traveler moving through a storm, unhurried, unshaken, untouched. Because true power, as the Stoics knew, is not in controlling others or events. It's in controlling yourself, and it all begins with one quiet pause. One of the greatest sources of frustration comes from this simple truth. We want control over everything, except ourselves. We want the weather to be right, people to be kind, plans to go perfectly, and life to unfold according to our design. And every time reality refuses to obey, frustration tightens its grip. Epictetus, the humble Stoic slave turned philosopher, began his teachings with a single principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. He called this the dichotomy of control, the most liberating idea a human being could ever grasp. Because once you understand it, frustration loses most of its power. Think about your day, the traffic, the messages that go unanswered, the opinions of others, the unexpected delays. You can't command these things, and yet, they occupy so much of your emotional energy. You suffer not because the world is cruel, but because you try to manage what was never yours to control. The Stoics remind us the external world is not your domain. The only true kingdom you rule is your own mind. You can't control what others say, but you can control whether their words wound you. You can't control the outcome of your efforts, but you can control the effort itself. You can't control the passing of time, but you can control how you use the time given. Epictetus compared life to a game of dice. You can't control the numbers that appear, but you can play your hand with skill. The wise man accepts the throw and focuses on how to play, not what was rolled. And that is the essence of Stoic calm. You stop fighting what is beyond your reach and begin mastering what is within it. When you accept this, something remarkable happens. Life stops feeling like a battlefield and starts feeling like a practice ground. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Notice the precision in his words. He didn't say control outside events. He said realize that you have power only over your mind, meaning the freedom was always there. You simply forgot. Frustration thrives in that forgetting. It feeds on the illusion that the world should bend to your will. But the moment you remember your domain, your thoughts, your choices, your reactions, the illusion breaks. You become untouchable. Because what can truly harm you if your peace no longer depends on what happens outside you? Imagine standing in the rain. You can't stop the clouds, but you can choose whether to curse the sky or simply open an umbrella. The Stoic chooses the latter, not because he's passive, but because he's wise enough to see the difference. Acceptance is not resignation. It's alignment with reality. It's saying, this is how the world works, and I will work with it, not against it. The warrior who fights the river will drown. The Stoic learns to flow with it. This is why frustration often signals a misunderstanding of control. When you catch yourself saying, "This shouldn't have happened," pause. Ask instead, "Was this ever within my control?" If it wasn't, release it. Let the event remain what it is, just an event. Don't carry it into your heart, and if it was within your control, act calmly, decisively, and without complaint. Because the Stoic doesn't just accept passively. He acts where action is meaningful, and lets go where it's not. Seneca once said, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." You are led willingly when you stop fighting what cannot be changed. You are dragged when you resist it, kicking and screaming, thinking you can rewrite reality with emotion. Life will always move forward, with or without your approval. But peace belongs only to those who move with it. So the next time frustration builds, draw an invisible line in your mind. On one side, place everything beyond your control. Other people, the past, the weather, chance. On the other side, place the few precious things you do command. Your words, your effort, your attitude. Then focus your entire being on that second list, because that's where peace lives. That's where Stoicism begins. To control what you can and accept what you can't is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's how you stop trying to direct the wind, and instead learn how to sail. That's the Stoic way. And it's how you begin turning frustration into freedom. Every moment in life comes with a quiet expectation. We work hard, expecting recognition. We love deeply, expecting to be loved in return. We plan carefully, expecting everything to unfold as we envisioned. And when it doesn't, frustration follows like a shadow. We mistake effort for entitlement. We confuse intention with guarantee. We forget that the universe never signed a contract to give us what we want. Epictetus once said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." That is the Stoic secret. Detachment from outcomes. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care fully, but you release the need to control the result. You still act, but you act without attachment. You give your best, and then you let go. Think of an archer. He pulls the bowstring with perfect form, breath steady, aim focused. He does everything within his control. But once the arrow leaves his hand, its path belongs to the wind. The Stoic is that archer. He understands that skill and serenity lie not in the outcome, but in the effort itself. When you live this way, disappointment loses its sting. You stop measuring your peace by results. You begin to find fulfillment in doing rather than winning. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others, when you do not refer your thoughts to some object of common utility, for you lose the opportunity of doing something else when you concern yourself with what happens to them." In other words, every moment spent worrying about what happens next is a moment stolen from what you could do now. The Stoic shifts focus inward, from outcome to process. From "will this succeed" to "am I acting with virtue, discipline, and intention right now?" Because when you detach from results, you detach from suffering. Detachment is not coldness, it's clarity. It's understanding that your peace cannot depend on what lies beyond your control. When you attach yourself to outcomes, you tie your emotions to something fragile. Fortune, approval, chance, time. But when you let go, you tie your peace to something unbreakable, your own action, your own integrity. Seneca said it beautifully. Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Each day, each act is complete in itself. You don't need tomorrow's applause to validate today's effort. When you live this way, every moment becomes meaningful, not because of what it leads to, but because of what it is. But detachment is not easy. The ego resists it. It whispers, "If I stop caring about the result, I'll stop trying." The Stoic answers, "No, I try harder. because my energy is no longer wasted on fear. When you're detached, you act purely without the noise of anxiety. You're no longer paralyzed by the thought of failure or inflated by the hope of success. You simply act well, and that's the essence of Stoic virtue, to act with wisdom, courage, and justice, without needing the world to notice. When frustration rises because something didn't go as planned, remind yourself, my job is not to control outcomes. My job is to give my best and accept the rest. Say it like a mantra. Repeat it until your mind stops fighting reality. Because the moment you release control over results, you release control over disappointment too. Detachment doesn't make life dull. It makes it lighter. It frees you from the weight of expectation, so you can finally enjoy the present moment. You begin to see failure not as tragedy, but as feedback. You begin to see success not as a reward, but as a reflection of preparation. And in both cases, your peace remains untouched. The Stoic doesn't chase what he cannot hold. He acts with discipline, accepts with grace, and moves forward with serenity. For in detachment, he finds power. In surrender, he finds freedom. And in every outcome, whether joy or disappointment, he remains the same. Steady, grounded, and free. Because the world may decide the result, but only you decide your response. When you're caught in frustration, your world shrinks. All you can see is the moment, the failure, the delay, the insult, the unfairness. It consumes your entire field of vision, as if nothing else exists. But the Stoics remind us to step back, to look at life from a higher place, a place where the noise quiets and the truth begins to show itself. Marcus Aurelius, sitting alone in the Roman night, once wrote, "Look at the immensity of time behind you and to the infinity ahead. In comparison to that, what is a single person's pain or pleasure or frustration?" When you see your life from the cosmic perspective, frustration begins to dissolve. The problem that once felt enormous becomes small, almost comical, against the backdrop of eternity. It's not that your pain is meaningless. It's that it's momentary. Imagine standing on a mountain, looking down at the city below. The traffic jams, the arguments, the noise. From above, they look like tiny movements in an ocean of stillness. The same applies to your mind. When you rise above the emotion, the chaos loses its grip. That's the Stoic practice of perspective. You remind yourself, this too shall pass. This moment, this frustration, this tension, it's only one breath in the lungs of the universe. Epictetus taught his students to practice this shift in every situation. If someone insulted you, he would say, "Remember that you are not disturbed by the thing itself, but by your opinion of it." The Stoic doesn't deny frustration, he redefines it. He zooms out until the feeling fits its true scale. You missed an opportunity? Zoom out and see the thousands that life still holds. You faced rejection? Zoom out and remember the billions of souls, each walking their own imperfect journey. You're angry about something you can't change. Zoom out and see that you are part of a vast, flowing universe that changes everything in its own time. When you zoom out, frustration becomes a lesson, not a prison. Seneca once said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." He didn't mean to sound dark. He meant to remind us that suffering is woven into the fabric of existence. When you see it that way, you stop taking your own frustrations so personally. You understand everyone suffers, everyone struggles, everyone is learning patience through pain, and that realization gives birth to compassion, both for others and for yourself. Perspective transforms frustration into wisdom. It helps you say, "Yes, this hurts, but in the grand scheme, it's only a ripple in the ocean of my growth." When you think like this, life loses its power to throw you off balance. Every problem becomes a teacher. Every delay becomes training. Every failure becomes direction. There's a story of a Stoic philosopher walking through a marketplace. He saw a man shouting about a broken vase, furious that it had shattered. The philosopher smiled and said, "You weep because you think it should have lasted forever." The same applies to everything we cling to: moments, people, possessions, outcomes. Nothing lasts forever. And when you finally accept that, frustration loses its meaning. Perspective is freedom. Because when you see how small your problems truly are, you realize how vast your strength can become. Next time frustration begins to rise, try this. Pause. Take one deep breath. Picture yourself standing far above, like a bird watching the landscape below. See your frustration as a small dot, moving in a much larger map. Now ask yourself, will this matter in a month? In a year? In a lifetime? If not, let it go. If yes, face it with calm resolve, not anger, because that's what the Stoic does. He doesn't escape life. He simply sees it clearly. The moment you learn to use perspective, you no longer live as a slave to emotion. You rise above it, steady, patient, free. For frustration only lives in narrow vision. But peace lives in the wide, timeless view of the whole. At some point in life, we all reach a wall, a moment when no amount of effort can change what stands before us. A betrayal we didn't deserve, a loss we couldn't prevent, a circumstance too heavy to move. Our first instinct is to resist, to fight reality, to say, this shouldn't have happened. But the more we resist, the more we suffer. The Stoics understood this. They knew that peace begins not with control, but with acceptance. Epictetus said it plainly, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly." This is not weakness, it's strength, the kind that comes from harmony with the truth. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop wasting energy fighting what is. You save your power for what can be changed, your attitude, your choices, your response. That's where freedom lives. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, wars, and betrayal. Yet he wrote, "Love only that which happens to you and is spun with the thread of your destiny." For what could more aptly fit your needs? He didn't say this because his life was easy. It wasn't. He said it because he realized that the universe has its own rhythm. To fight it is to drown. To move with it is to find peace. Acceptance is not surrender. It's alignment. It's saying, this is where I am. This is what I have. Now what can I do with it? When frustration arises, it's often because we are clinging to an ideal version of how things should be. We imagine a world where people act fairly, where plans unfold perfectly, where nothing goes wrong. But that world doesn't exist. The Stoics call this the fantasy of control, and every time you fall into it, you hand your peace to something you cannot own. Instead, the Stoic accepts reality, not because he approves of it, but because he recognizes it as the only ground from which action can begin. Acceptance is clarity. It strips away illusion. It tells you, here is what is real. Now move forward. Seneca wrote, "A wise man does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Acceptance shifts your focus from what's missing to what's possible. From resentment to gratitude, from paralysis to motion. When you stop fighting the present, the mind becomes still. In that stillness, strength returns, creativity awakens. You begin to respond, not react. Think of a river flowing through rocks. It doesn't curse the obstacle, it moves around it. That's the power of acceptance. You bend with life instead of breaking against it. When things fall apart, you stop saying, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" That single shift in mindset turns frustration into transformation, because frustration is energy trapped in resistance. Acceptance releases it and transforms it into calm action. But acceptance requires humility. It asks you to let go of pride, to admit that the universe is not under your command. And yet, when you surrender that illusion, a quiet strength emerges. You become untouchable, not because life gets easier, but because your peace no longer depends on it. Next time you feel frustration rise, whisper to yourself, "This is what is happening. I will accept it and act wisely within it." Let that thought settle like a stone in calm water. Acceptance will not erase pain, but it will dissolve resistance. And what remains after resistance fades is peace. The Stoic doesn't seek to control the waves. He learns to sail them. He accepts the storm, knowing it too shall pass. And in that quiet acceptance, he discovers the power that cannot be shaken, the power of serenity, the power of understanding, the power of inner freedom. Because the world may move as it pleases, but the Stoic stands unmoved within it. Frustration often begins in a single instant. Someone says something disrespectful. Plans collapse. The world doesn't cooperate. In that brief space between what happens and how you respond, your entire peace is decided. Most people react. They lash out. They speak before they think. They let the emotion choose their words, their tone, their fate. But the Stoic pauses. Epictetus taught his students a simple truth. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's where the true power lies. Not in controlling events, but in mastering yourself. When frustration hits, the first instinct is to defend, attack, or escape. But each reaction is a chain. It ties you to the emotion, to the person, to the chaos. The moment you react, you lose control. But when you respond, you take it back. A Stoic response begins with silence. Not the silence of weakness, but the silence of strength. It's the silence of a mind that refuses to be dragged by impulse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That moment is the pause, the sacred space between stimulus and response. In that pause, you breathe. You see the situation clearly. You ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Is my reaction helping me or harming me? And most of the time, that's all it takes to transform frustration into wisdom. Think of anger as fire. Reacting to frustration is like throwing fuel on it. Responding is like containing it, letting it burn only where it brings light, not destruction. You can feel the heat, but you don't have to let it consume you. The Stoics didn't aim to suppress emotions. They aimed to understand them, to trace each emotion back to its root belief. Why am I angry? What expectation was broken? What fear am I protecting? That awareness turns emotion into insight. It transforms reaction into deliberate response. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Pause. That's the first discipline. Because the longer you hold before reacting, the more power you reclaim. Every time you pause, you choose clarity over chaos. You choose to act from reason, not emotion. And that choice builds inner strength, the kind that no frustration can take from you. When you respond instead of react, you begin to see life differently. A rude person becomes a test of patience. A delay becomes training in stillness. A failure becomes practice in resilience. Everything that once provoked you now becomes a lesson in control. This is what the Stoics called practical philosophy, not words, but lived wisdom. Each pause is a moment of freedom. Each measured response is a step toward mastery. Try this the next time frustration strikes. Pause. Before saying a word, take a slow, deep breath. Observe. Feel the emotion. Don't fight it. Don't feed it. Reflect. Ask yourself, what's truly within my control right now? Respond. Speak or act only when calm and clarity have returned. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest disciplines in life. And also one of the most liberating, because reacting means you are a prisoner of the moment. Responding means you are the master of it. The world doesn't need more noise, anger, or overreaction. It needs more calm strength, the kind that moves with precision, not impulse. And that's what the Stoic cultivates. The ability to remain still while the world trembles. To stay kind when provoked. To choose reason when emotions demand chaos. Remember, frustration doesn't destroy you. Reaction does. Every time you respond with calmness, you weaken frustration's grip. And in that moment, you prove something sacred. That peace is not found in the absence of problems, but in the mastery of your response. The Stoic doesn't avoid the storm. He becomes the calm within it. Every strong person you admire has walked through the fire of frustration. They've known the sting of disappointment, the silence of rejection, the ache of waiting. But what made them different was this: they didn't let frustration destroy them. They used it, because frustration is raw energy. And energy, when mastered, becomes power. The Stoics never saw frustration as an enemy. They saw it as information. A signpost that says, something within you still desires control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." To the Stoic, every obstacle is not a wall, it's a doorway. Frustration is that doorway. It's life's way of testing how much discipline, patience, and clarity you've built. You can let it close you off, or you can walk through it and grow. When you feel frustration rise, pause and ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Maybe it's telling you to let go. Maybe it's showing you that your plans were built on expectations, not preparation. Or maybe it's simply reminding you to slow down, breathe, and adjust. That shift in mindset changes everything. Because when you stop seeing frustration as punishment, it becomes fuel. Epictetus taught, difficulties show what men are. Anyone can stay calm when things go right. But when things fall apart, when everything feels unfair, delayed, or lost, that's when you see your real strength. Frustration is a mirror. It shows you who you are when life doesn't go your way. And that's where true transformation begins. The Stoic doesn't suppress his frustration, he refines it. He channels it into discipline, into focus, into creation. When he feels the fire rise, he doesn't waste it in complaint. He forges it into purpose. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests brave men." So when you feel frustrated, remember, this is your fire. This is your test. And if you stay still long enough, the heat that once burned you can become the warmth that guides you. Here's how to turn frustration into fuel. Acknowledge it. Don't pretend you're calm when you're not. Name the feeling, own it. Stoicism isn't about denial, and it's about awareness. Redirect it. Use that energy to act, not to complain. Channel the irritation into training, learning, or creating. Let it become motion instead of noise. Reflect. Ask, what expectation caused this frustration? Once you see that clearly, the emotion loses power. Refocus. Return to your values. Discipline, patience, courage. Let them guide your next step, not emotion. Every time you do this, frustration becomes a forge, and you, the iron within it. Life will always hand you reasons to be angry. But the Stoic turns those reasons into resolve. Frustration says, "This is too hard." The Stoic answers, "Good, then I will grow stronger." Frustration says, "Why me?" The Stoic answers, "Because I can handle it." Frustration says, "It's not fair." The Stoic answers, "Then this is my training. This is how you turn chaos into calm and pain into progress." Each time frustration visits, see it as a teacher, not an intruder. It's here to refine your patience, deepen your understanding, and sharpen your self-control. It's here to remind you that your power was never outside you. It was always in how you choose to respond. Because the truth is, frustration isn't your enemy. It's your invitation to rise, to focus, to transform. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is endurable, then endure it." Stop complaining. Simple, direct, stoic. That's the essence of strength. To stop feeding the emotion and start fueling the soul. And when you learn to do that, frustration can no longer break you. It becomes your fire, the one that forges calm into wisdom and struggle into greatness. So the next time you feel that surge of frustration, smile quietly to yourself. You've been here before, and this time you know what to do. You don't react, you don't resist. You rise, because for the Stoic, every frustration is a chance to build discipline, to deepen patience, to prove that peace is not found by escaping the storm, but by learning to walk through it, unshaken. Frustration will always find its way back to you, through people, through plans, through life itself. You can't stop it from arriving, but you can choose what it finds when it does. A reactive mind, or a still one, a clenched fist, or an open heart. The Stoic chooses stillness. He meets frustration not with anger, but awareness, not with complaint, but composure. He knows that every irritation, every setback, every disappointment is a lesson in disguise, a lesson in patience, a lesson in strength, a lesson in control, because peace is not the absence of problems. It's the mastery of response. So the next time the fire rises, remember, you have a choice: to react or to rise, to fight the storm, or to become the calm within it. This is the art of Stoicism. And this is the Stoic Island.